awesome, Jeff. Why do you hate us?
Okay, well, now let's get it started. In here.
It was funnier the first time. Jeff ruins everything.
God.
Hi.
Love you,
Hey.
Jeff. Hey, guys.
Hey, welcome to Tudor I Hardly Know Her. I'm Garrett.
I'm Emily.
I'm Jeffrey.
This is our podcast
We talk about Tudor shit.
that we hardly know.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Except
you know.
I know. The guys don't.
Emily knows everything. We know nothing.
That is true.
You know nothing, Jeff Simpson.
You know nothing, Jeff Simpson. Jeff Snow.
Why is everyone hating on me right now?
I don't know.
don't
Because
know
you know
shit.
nothing.
You don't know shit, dog.
I have one of those faces where people can just make fun of easily.
No, he doesn't. Joffrey has a beautiful face.
Look at that face.
That
I
face.
can pinch the shit out of
that
those cheeks.
face. Jeff's so cute. He's so
So-
handsome.
Today, we are doing an episode on...
Well, we've been talking. We finally watched some Spanish Princess.
Yes, because you guys keep haranguing us about it.
Spanish.
So we had our last
Princess.
episode talking about the first two episodes.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and we decided to kind of piggyback off of that topic, and this is also something I want to talk about just because I've been reading another book. Surprise, surprise.
You know, it's been nice going back to talk about the queens themselves. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's been so long since we talked about them individually.
Well, we talked about Anne all of May.
We talk about Anne all the fucking time
Yeah.
because she's your favorite.
Yeah, she is. She's just so mysterious. Well, then that's good to know. I'll keep it up with the queens. Now, are you talking queens' wives or queens like Elizabeth and
I was
Mary?
specifically talking about Henry's wives because I
Okay.
mean that was the beginning of the show.
Well, that's fucking good to know. I'll keep talking about the queens.
It's nice to get a little refreshers.
I think we
Because
need
if
some.
you guys haven't paid attention during the show, I forget things. I'm like, oh yeah, this person. And I was like, no, that was this.
That was the
person.
other Mary.
No, fuck.
No, I've been reading a book called The Wives of Henry VIII by Antonia Fraser. And fun fact, I was going to buy this book for $15 at Half Price Books. I'm like, that's such a good deal. And then I had it in my hand. I was like, no, I shouldn't have spent $15 on a book when I already have 5,000 other books about these women. And then literally the next day, Jeff and I were at the library and they sell some of their old books and they had the same book for $3. So I was like, fuck yes.
Okay, quick aside.
Emily loves books.
Yeah, it's about this. So this has nothing to do with the tutor. So last night we played a game called the Jackbox Party Pack 5
Okay,
or
I thought
3.
you were
It
going
was
to talk about
it was
Shia.
We did play the Shia LaBeouf RPG. That's a whole other can of worms. So
That's our next podcast. Holy shit.
people would not be able to stand that. So this game it did like a
Oh my God.
people were interviewed and asked like, hey, you know, how many of you people do this thing? So the question was, how many people said that they have? How many people surveyed said that they have?
Books on their, at least one book on their bookshelf that they haven't read.
No. It's have more than half the books on their bookshelf they have not read,
Oh,
and it was
like 33%.
33%.
That's
Bullshit
insane.
liars.
I don't believe it at all.
No.
I think it's much higher.
So we want to hear from you guys. Look at your bookshelf. Have you read more than half of those books?
Okay, wait. All right, wait. I'm gonna now take back what I said about being bullshit. I have a lot of books that I haven't read, but I also have more than half that I have read.
You know, John Waters has a great quote where he says, if you go to somebody's house and they don't have any books, don't fuck them.
I agree with that.
It's something to that effect. So I just
I
have
agree
a lot
with
of
that.
books
Well, here's the thing.
that I've never read,
Here's the
and nobody still fucks
I
me.
have my
I own a
books.
lot of books.
I have books so I can get some tail. No. No, I think I'm a little bit of a weirdo in that I have a huge book collection because I go to other people's houses and they're like, yes, I own 3 books.
Well, you're a
One
huge
of them
book
is a
reader.
college
Everyone else who's playing
textbook.
the game, I don't
Well,
think is
it's
like
the
that
same
big
as
of
people that are with
I don't know.
Emily and I
Okay.
are movies.
So I guess
Yeah.
this is a
it's
two-part.
like
This
our
is a,
collection to us doesn't actually seem that big to me. But then you realize, I know people who own literally like 10 DVDs and that's it.
well, so I guess this is a 2-part question for our listeners. How many books do you own, and have you read at least half of them?
All right,
So let us know.
read all the way
But-
through.
The book I'm reading, The Wives of Henry VIII, kind of inspired me to talk about this, and then it seemed especially relevant because we just watched The Spanish Princess. So we're going to talk about Catherine of Aragon's childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's rumble.
Let's talk Tater.
So, here's the story of a lovely lady named Isabella of Castile.
The
So
warrior princess.
the warrior princess, and she took a sword, and her horse killed people, and according to the Spanish princess, she was a fucking.
Yeah, she was mixing it up.
She was like on that battlefield. She wasn't, but she was pretty badass. So she was the queen in her own right, meaning she wasn't queen simply because she was married to a king.
She earned it.
Her half brother died, so she earned it in that she didn't die. Although there was a civil
I would
war.
count that as a win.
There was a civil war involving her trying to get the throne. So that's that's gonna be a bonus episode one day. So Isabella of Castile was her mother, and King Ferdinand of Aragon was her father. So she had one brother named Juan, and
Hello, Juan.
and then there were sisters, Juana.
No.
There's Juana the Mad. Not kidding. She was called Juana la Loco. Juana the Mad. And then there was a sister named Isabel and a sister named Maria. I wonder if you guys can guess what Maria means translated to English.
Mark.
Mark. It's Mark. You got it.
Cool.
You got it. It's Mark. So she was born December 10th. Oh, she almost shared a birthday with Evelyn.
Aw.
She was born. I'm kind of glad she didn't. She didn't have a happy ending. Born December 10th, 1485. So this was the same year that Henry VII took the throne of England. You know, killed Richard, got the crown, all that stuff. Here's the whole warrior queen behind Isabella. She was kind of crusading while pregnant with Catherine. Actually, she was out there leading her armies, but she wasn't in the field hacking people to bits with the sword.
Queen Isabella, we need you on the front. No, see, I'm 3 months pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
I
But
can't.
she did lead, and she actually had one miscarriage because she wouldn't stop, crusading. So she was pregnant with Catherine while she was doing that. And fun fact, Catherine of Aragon, Catalina, was named after an English princess, Catherine of Lancaster, who had something to do with John of Gaunt. I didn't care enough to look it up. Sorry, guys. I don't. There are like two family trees, but they're also complicated because cousins won't stop marrying each other. That it wasn't immediately clear why she was related to Catherine of Lancaster, but just she was. So she kind of had an interesting childhood. She was not like the, English princesses who would be raised in one castle and maybe go from palace to palace to palace, but always living that royal life. She had a very adventurous life. The court was constantly moving because of the battles. And she was actually present during some Moorish raids. So you remember that scene in Spanish Princess where
They take on the weird.
there's like a 10-man
Brawl.
uprising. Yeah. They get into a rumble on the streets.
The beef was on site.
It was. And there didn't seem to be much action in reality besides praying. I don't think anybody did anything besides praying. And I don't believe anybody stabbed a dagger into the earth to do it.
Yeah.
I
that was-
seriously thought she was trying to listen to the earth.
I thought she was looking for water.
I will
Like-
use the hilt.
It's like one of those things you always see in some goofy movie where it's like I'm trying to hear nature happen, or like I'm trying to hear someone coming. They put like a knife.
She
at
feels the
ground.
vibrations of the horses coming, and then she's like, from the east.
Yeah.
She's the great tracker, Catherine of Aragon.
Luckily, it didn't go that crazy.
It went crazy in other ways.
It was
Yes.
weird, though, that they did. Either way. So when Catherine was 6, her parents claimed the palace of Alhambra, and it's apparently a gorgeous palace, and I think it's still available. And they had these really pretty water gardens, so I think they kind of showed that in Spanish Princess, where they showed her like just briefly passing through it, but it's really just these beautiful watery areas, which I'd totally be
Yeah.
down for living in.
All right, so I'm not trying to sound dumb because she's Spanish. She grew up in Spain. Where in Spain was like royalty living at that time?
Well,
Because the thing is, problem is, I really don't know a lot about Spain itself, really.
fun fact, neither do I.
Because you can go off Italy. It's like, oh, Italy has Rome and
Okay.
Venice and stuff like
Alhambra
that.
is beautiful, by
And
the
like
way.
in Paris,
is.
what my brother, he was in
Granada.
Is it Granada?
Yeah.
Because my brother, he was in Europe, like over a year ago with friends. It was his first time ever being in Europe. They went to like Italy and France and Spain. My brother said like when he got back, he's like Spain was the one he said he would
Jesus.
love to go back to because he guys says it was just gorgeous and like
Okay.
the food was really
This
delicious.
kinda reminds me
Alhambra
of-
is fucking gorgeous.
This
Yeah.
reminds me of like the Dorne scenes from Game of Thrones.
yeah. I could totally see
I can
Dorne being
see
inspired by
yeah,
Spain.
very heavily.
Definitely, yeah.
Is
Alhambra Palace,
Madrid, is that there?
Madrid is in Spain,
Okay, I wasn't quite sure.
but I don't know anything
Like I said,
about it.
for
Either
some
way,
reason, I have like very little knowledge of Spain. Even though you hear about Spain a lot and more, and like the Americans, like North and South America storylines with all the the conquistadors and the search of the Mayans and everything and El Dorado.
Here's a fun fact. Alhambra remains one of the best preserved Islamic palaces from when the Moors controlled this region of Spain.
See, that's another fascinating thing. Is the thing about
you can
Spain
see it-
have a lot of Muslims
So
there.
gorgeous.
Hmm.
It's so
'Cause that's
gorgeous.
the thing
I'm
is-
going to post some of these pictures online.
It's hard for me to associate Spain to the other European countries like to Germany and France and Italy and Britain. Like those ones all have very similar features about them. Like you can tell the cultural difference each one, but they all feel very similar. Where Spain is the one that just feels so different from the rest of them.
Feels very different, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, because Spain's just so like out on this sort of like peninsula kind of thing away from Europe, where like France and Germany and all Netherlands, that kind of stuff are all so close.
I want to move. I want to live there now.
I love to see it.
We need to go to
It's
Spain.
like,
Pack
All
it
right.
up.
yeah.
Bye, guys. We'll finish this episode in Spain.
How many of you guys have been to Spain? Let us know.
many of you live
but
in
after you
Spain?
tell us how many books you've read. So they lived in Alhambra when Catherine was 6. I don't know exactly how long they stayed there because it may have been like no, Henry the Seventh's palaces they didn't really have. I mean, England was kind of the that time period.
I was weren't they
didn't
kind
have
of recovering from all this
Civil
crazy?
War.
Who's the king?
Yeah, a little bit of that. So probably not much, like no running water, stuff like that. Where I'm
Ooh.
pretty sure Alhambra did. At least they had drinkable water, which we'll get to later.
Right.
So-
You're talking about that.
Catherine's mother didn't have a great education because she was just a girl, and she had a half brother who's supposed to be the heir until he died.
She was too
So-
busy kicking ass.
She was a little bit busy kicking. Well, I think
Kicking
she
ass
grew
and
up in a
taking
convent.
names.
She didn't kick ass until she got out of the convent. I'm pretty sure she grew up in a
Kick
convent.
names, take ass.
So her mother was
Kick ass for the Lord.
insistent that she have a really good education. So she was taught Latin as well as Spanish, obviously. And she had classical studies and then all the, the standard girly shit, music, dancing. She learned that part of being a wife was the wifely duties of like making your husband's shirts. So even the queens back then wanted to do it. So that's something Catherine picked up from her mother.
No,
She always made the shirts for Henry, which Anne Boleyn did not like.
Sorry, this just like and after watching Spanish Princess, this kind of triggered this question, and I don't know if this is inappropriate to ask, but
Where's the vagina?
please, I've been trying to figure that out for 30 fucking years. Bonus points for the clitoris. So when women were being like trained to be a queen or to be like a high-ranking noble wife or anything, were they taught like how to please a man?
No.
Okay, I didn't know.
All right, Catherine, everyone grab your bananas. We're going to go over some
This is
some
how you
next
put on a
steps.
condom. It was
Condom,
an
they need to get a
abstinence.
king in her.
Well, not like they were like being trained by like banging dudes out on the streets, but they're like, hey, here's
it's
what
not-
you got to do.
it's not like-
No, it
no
was
sex
lay
ed.
back and think of Spain or England.
It's not
it
like
was
geishas, whatever, trying
they
to
were
learn how
taught.
to like.
Yeah. No, the women were not supposed to derive pleasure from it, and women weren't in charge of being anything other than.
I say they're more being trained for as a public figure, probably, right?
Okay,
Like,
yes, but also
just to be an
their
image
role
next to your
was to
king.
create babies.
Vessels
and
for penises
fertility
and
fell
babies.
to women. The men had nothing to do with fertility as far as they were seen.
Because men would never be the problem.
A man would never be the
Mm.
problem. So no, they were not trained to sexually please their men. That was
Or just
considered
know
very
how
dirty.
to have
like
sex.
No.
Like, okay, you gotta
No.
do it this way because that's where
They're
it
not
gets
told-
in you, and that's the guaranteed to get you a baby.
They're
Make
not
sure to
told
lay on
to-
your
no,
back
no,
for
no.
3 hours. Your legs in the
Missionary.
air.
Missionary is all. That's
and
it.
don't eat it.
God.
Don't bite. There were no BJs happening in the queen's bed.
You don't know that.
Well, there are rumors that Anne tried to BJ her way to the.
And look what happened to her.
That's
Well-
why she has the bee necklace.
Okay, so
she
here's the
invented the
thing, another-
blowjob.
It was actually called a Berlin job back then.
Sorry, Catherine, you just got hijacked again.
That's how she got ahead in life.
Oh, Jeffrey, Jesus Christ.
Good night,
Okay.
everybody.
So
Horse
another
had died,
thing.
Horse had survived.
So that's another
Sucked
thing
off.
in the book
Goodbye.
that they're talking about is like, so Anne Boleyn was like, I'm not going to sleep with you, Henry. But that didn't mean she didn't do something for him. She could have been giving him handies or letting him touch her or whatever.
I mean, we saw what happened with Arthur.
As long as you weren't shut the little dweeb.
My no-no zone.
It's my no-no zone. What are you doing?
If you haven't watched The Spanish Princess yet, do yourself a favor and at least watch the first 2 episodes.
No, don't even do that. Just look up what Arthur looks like on it.
Google search Arthur Spanish Queen.
Yep. Spanish princess. Arthur
Sorry.
is a Spanish queen.
God.
So, fun fact, Catherine of Aragon would have witnessed Columbus setting sail to the New World to, like, wreck everybody's
so she
shit.
had to see the ocean blue.
Yeah, she did.
There goes a hero.
So Spain, much like Germany in the 1940s and then Britain throughout the rest of history, hated France. So Ferdinand was trying to arrange marriages with all of those daughters of his that would benefit then Spain, kind of keep France at bay. Believe it or not, they used to be a superpower. So
It's still hard to believe.
I know. Sorry, France.
They blinded everyone with their powder.
So he had one of his daughters married the King of Portugal, and another daughter married. No, wait. How many daughters did I say he had? There was Juana, and his daughter Juana married the Habsburg emperor person guy. So then he was like, well, England could be good because I've got good trade deals over there that could, if we can get through England for trade, that'd make life easy for us. So he considered it, but he was really worried about Henry's throne because people kept, knocking kings off and, that
normal thing.
yeah. But when Catherine was 2 and Henry's son Arthur was less than a year old, they started discussing a potential marriage treaty. So one was drafted up in 1488. So Catherine was only 2. Sorry, 3. She was only 3 when this happened. But Henry was like, let's be besties. Henry was like desperate to get these good relationships. He's like that girlfriend that your friends had, like your buddy is dating a new girl and she's like, I'm so excited to be everybody's friend. And then she latches onto the only other woman in the group and she's like, let's be best friends.
You
That
and I
was
are
Henry.
friends now.
That's Henry. Henry was that girl.
Cool.
Henry was the new needy girlfriend. So they celebrated everything. They sucked up a lot. The Spanish ambassador reported that when the marriage alliance came up, the English king broke into a spontaneous Te Deum, which I'm pretty sure is like a mass said for thanks. But I'm just totally imagining the ambassador trying to be like, yeah, I talked to Ferdinand about one of the things about the treaty, and Henry just interrupting him and started singing Hallelujah or something. He's just so fucking excited about it.
Just like a huge Bollywood dance number.
And Spain was like, hey.
These guys are fucking weird.
But they were worried about their daughter, quote unquote, marrying into a family which might any day be driven out of England. They also thought the English were a little kind of like barbarians, because beheading kings and all that shit. I'm sure, though, that they had nothing to worry about. I'm positive their daughter Catherine would have been treated well.
What problems were going on in Spain right now, if any?
The Moors.
Okay, but nothing too big?
Nothing that big. There was a civil war with Isabel of Castile, but
I think that's
That's-
one of the weird things to think about in history is how like earlier you said, it's weird to think about France being a superpower. It's weird to think about England.
Sorry, that's a good joke.
It's weird to think about Britain being barbaric people.
Well,
mean-
yeah. I mean,
There's a meme that I keep seeing going around. It's like of this like derpy, happy looking dog. It's like Britain in their own history books. And he's like, hi, and then like Britain in every other history book is just like this barking dog looking vicious as hell.
yes, that is true. Well, the thing is, the Spanish were so concerned about England not being stable enough for Catherine that their ambassador actually said, bearing in mind what happens every day to kings of England, it was surprising that Ferdinand and Isabella should dare give their daughter at all.
You know, this reminds me again of Dorne and King's Landing.
Yeah. Yep,
in
I see it.
Westeros. Yeah.
I totally see it.
Like people in Dorne had their shit together more or less, it seemed, and
They
they're
did.
like,
I mean,
Westeros sucks.
yeah, that's true. So Henry was, not too thrilled to be told, we don't fucking trust your people. You're probably barbarians. But he was like, all right, but I really need this relationship. So, in 1489, the treaty was officially signed, and Catherine was the ripe old age of 3. Well, I guess she would have been. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, she was like 3 in a month because it happened at the end of 1486 or,
What a
or
late
1488, whatever. I'm right. She was 3 when the treaty was officially signed. So because she was expected to go to England and be their queen, she was taught English history. And then knights of the English courts would stop by the Spanish court on their way to go crusading, Catholics. So Catherine did have a lot of exposure to her future home, which is really nice. And then the thing is, though, that terms of the betrothal weren't really discussed until Catherine was 11. So for 8 years or so, they're like, yeah, you'll marry him. Don't worry about when or how or all that stuff. We'll figure it out later.
Just know at any moment in your life, it could all be uprooted.
Tomorrow, you could marry him. So,
Good night, honey. Hope you don't get sent over to England.
Love
you.
Sorry, baby. Hope you don't wake up in England. Elizabeth of York was kind, unlike the one presented in the show, which, what the fuck?
Gotta have
Whatever.
an antagonist.
Really?
Maybe we should make Margaret Beaufort the antagonist. I'm sorry, not Elizabeth of York.
It's
Anyway,
okay. She doesn't last long.
but Elizabeth of York was actually very motherly towards Elizabeth. When Arthur was widowed, Elizabeth was like, I'll take care of you. I'll make sure everything's fine. And only when she died did Henry VII start acting like a bitch to her.
Also, when she died, she went into the shadow zone and saw ghosts and shit.
She did. So, when the terms were discussed, that's when Elizabeth started writing more to Isabel. One of the things she suggested was like, hey, Catherine should probably start drinking wine because the water here is undrinkable. Totes not barbarians. But like apparently everybody in England drank beer or wine.
Hey,
Like you
shit's good over here, but
you
you don't want to
couldn't
drink the water.
you couldn't drink the water, so everybody was
Bring your
like
own water bottles.
basically a wine mom where they're like, today's been difficult. I need wine. Where's my Moscato?
So my mom.
So she stayed in Spain, but the ambassador de Puebla, that guy was fishy as fuck. They think he actually was like in Henry VII's pocket, but he was like, I really think Catherine should come over here soon because Spain is really nice and she's going to have some serious culture shock when she comes over here. So let's just get her used to the shitty conditions as soon as we possibly can.
So you said that Catherine, like as she was being raised up, they're like, hey, you're gonna have to learn about some English history and shit. Did Arthur have to learn about Spain at all?
No.
It's not his
Who
job.
gives a shit about her
He's
country?
gonna be the king. He's got to learn shit.
Not about Spain.
Not really.
Only that they'd be politically aggressive or friendly depending on the environment at the time.
So we're getting to the point where she's she's about to be sent over.
Well, no, de Puebla wanted her sent over
Yeah.
like when she was 11. The king, Ferdinand and Isabella were like,
whoa, she's
no,
too young. Wait till
No.
she's 12.
Well, no, I mean that happened with Scotland and King James wanted Margaret Tudor sent over early, but Margaret Beaufort was like, no, because I got pregnant at 12 and it was a fucking nightmare, and I'm not risking you impregnating her
And she
because
does
you don't
mention
want
that
to
in
wait
the
until
show.
she's old
like,
enough.
yeah,
but,
I got pregnant at
let's not
12.
talk
You could
about
do
that.
it too.
Let's not talk about that. So in 1499, a wedding ceremony was held by proxy. We've talked a little bit about this. This is when de Puebla stuck his leg in the bed and basically he was like, "We've consummated."
Ugh.
And from there, Arthur started writing letters to Catherine, and
Okay. I was going to ask about this.
no, they were not actually Henry. Arthur started writing them, and they were
Do
pretty.
we know
they
that,
were
though?
pretty rote. Yeah, we do have.
Because they're all like,
The-
I hope to touch your shoulder one day.
No, they weren't.
Signed Arthur Rex.
No, he wouldn't have been Rex yet. He was still Prince. No,
He had a big head on his shoulders.
Clearly
hair.
they knew. Clearly the letters were like dictated to Arthur, but like be like, Arthur, you should totally tell her this.
My dad says that I should say that you probably smell nice.
Yeah. Arthur started writing letters to Catherine, and they were probably dictated to him. Be like, tell her she's pretty and you're excited to be married to her or whatever. And he did.
Tell me I'm pretty.
Ferdinand still didn't trust the English or de Puebla, so he was like, we got to do it again. So they had a second proxy ceremony, and once again, de Puebla stood in as the proxy bride. So he sat next to Arthur.
Kissed him.
At the banquet. At the banquet, he was
He's like, this is the second time this has happened. I think De Puebla just wants to smooch me.
he was like putting on Catherine's dresses.
Oh, God.
Arthur, tell me I'm pretty.
Don't give any shitty TV show writers an idea, or else they're gonna be like, De Puebla was the first one. He fell
Look,
in love with Arthur and
Half
started
of
wearing
these TV shows
her
are fanfic
clothes.
anyway. Why not mine?
So finally, it was agreed that on her 16th birthday, Catherine would go. However, before Catherine, like in her last year in Spain, it wasn't a very good time. Surely not an omen of the time to come in England at all.
Things can't get much worse there.
So-
Do.
So, before Catherine left, her brother Juan, the heir, the only boy, died.
The only Juan.
The only Juan, he died. Now,
Was that uncalled for?
no, not at all. So the one important thing to remember is Castile, Isabel of Castile, they allowed females to inherit. Aragon did not. So, when her sister Isabel became heir of Castile, she did not become heir of heir of Aragon. Aragon. So Isabel was next, right? But then she died.
No.
She had a little boy.
Oh.
Then he died.
Oh. That's good. Oh, that's bad.
So luckily, their sister Juana the Mad had a little boy named Charles. He was
that's
the
good.
Habsburg. And then she was imprisoned and carried
that's
around her
bad.
husband's dead body. It was weird.
Wait,
Well,
what?
I'll say what.
That's another episode.
Okay. I was just ask where does the loco come from?
Her father and her, oh God, let's see. Her husband died, and she was so obsessed with him that she carried his dead body around, and
I'm sorry. Why are we just now finding out about this 90 plus episodes
Why are we
into
finding
the
about the
show?
Spanish Weekend at Bernie's?
it's a whole thing. We'll do Spanish Weekend at Bernie's another
No,
episode.
this episode is over. We're talking about it right now. No, continue. But
So she
you
was-
better,
That'll be an episode.
Emily.
don't
I
worry.
will never forgive you if you forget to tell us about this.
No, I'll tell you about it. It'll be a Patreon episode.
I don't
so
know. I want everyone to hear about this.
So, everybody died, and then, she was also very lonely because her last sister, Maria. Okay, so her sister Isabel, who died, she was married to the King of Portugal. King of Portugal is now a widow. Maria was
Widower.
sent to marry her sister's widower. Familiar, right?
Yes.
Sister marrying dead person, sibling. Yeah.
That's where I
so
got the idea from.
she was lonely, but whatever.
Oh,
so
go on.
finally, Catherine of Aragon set sail, and
Yo, now who?
she said some final prayers and went to England.
Dear God,
and
please don't let him be an uggo.
probably lived.
Please have a good haircut.
She probably lived happily ever after.
Yeah. So, it was mentioned in the show as well, but like, were portraits ever sent of the kids to each other, to the family, so they would know?
I can only think of the fucking stick figures. Yes,
Okay.
because there is a
I
portrait
don't
of
know if
Catherine.
like what's his name went back to Spain. He's like, oh yeah, Arthur, he's cute as hell. Good kisser too.
Oh, he's great looking. Just what you see.
He's very tender when unleashing your gown.
Bronze skin, abs, bleach tips.
What? Hold on.
He's an NSYNC.
Yeah. You described Lance Bass. No, I don't think so.
No, there was a portrait of Catherine of Aragon as a teenager, so like 15
No,
years
I visualize
old.
a Tudors boy band.
She's just heading her hands on her phone.
I'm
Feeling
art,
cute, might delete later.
I'm art. I'm the sensitive one.
So this is
Or laying on her belly on her bed, like writing a note, legs kicked up.
these are the portraits that would have been sent to each other. So he did have the goofy ass haircut.
I mean, at least back then it
But
wasn't
not the
goofy.
fucking bangs, at least. Like, it's the fucking bangs that just ruin it.
Catherine's cute. That is no Arthur. That's not a look.
Poor Uggo
He looks
Arthur.
like in Scooby Doo. If they're like, hey, look at Shaggy's like ancestors, that would be one of Shaggy's ancestors.
Like, zoinks, Catherine. Oh.
I'm starting to sweat a lot, man.
Oh my god, I mean, this did well on the casting look of the guy.
Yeah.
Costing, yeah. Just
Casting call in L.A. looking for a dope.
poor
Not
kid.
for dope, but a dope.
Yeah, so
Fuckability 0.
portraits were sent correct.
Okay.
Hey, babe, sent you a pic. Unsolicited dick pics were a lot harder to get back then.
Okay, now I'm imagining like the prince like with his pants down, like angling his dick, and like the painter's like, come on, like stop, like pick an angle and let me get to it.
And they have a table of fruit next to it.
It's like make it look bigger than this banana, please. Please, you got to do this for me. She's gonna hate me when she gets here.
Except he like does it in that weird like flat 2-dimensional way that old portraits are done. Where it's just like a flat dick coming out at the wrong angle.
It's weird. As I move, it follows.
My God. I hate this one. Redo it. Fucking really?
Throw this one away, please.
Oh, let me fluff up a bit.
Bring in the royal fluffer.
That or groom with a stool. You get to pick one.
Oh, okay. That's that for Catherine's childhood. And we end on Arthur's dick.
I mean, that's how he ended.
No, he didn't. He ended without any. He got freaked out by her hand on his junk, dude. I doubt he got laid. She's like, wait, this is a lot smaller than that picture you sent me.
You must have gotten someone else's dick pic.
I never would have exaggerated about my micro penis being larger.
I mean, what? Don't worry about my dick. Oh God, I'm getting real hot, and real sweaty. So hot here is just me.
I feel really sick all of a sudden. Yellow bile, sorry.
Please don't beg my
He
brother.
dies. He dies, so he never has to show his micro
What if-
penis.
That's why he died.
What if
He
in
like
Spanish
rubs
Princess?
sweating sickness all over.
What if Spanish
himself.
Princess wasn't wrong? They were like sanitizing history. Like Arthur like felt bad about his micro penis. He's like, Henry, you're hanging
Gotta do
brain.
me a solid.
Please send
I'm
send
gonna
one
go
of
out
your
and
dick
hug
pics.
a bunch of sick peasants.
That's it. We've solved the history's greatest mystery. Oh, fun fact: Henry VIII built the pyramids.
True.
Any other questions?
I mean, I think we covered literally everything I ever wanted to talk about, other than
One
Spanish
of the
Weekend at
mad.
Bernie's.
That'll be a Patreon episode. Oh, speaking of Patreon,
We are launching it. If we haven't already, then we will be doing that very soon.
yeah, it's gonna happen. We're recording this early. We're being good about this. So we have Patreon all set up. We really just need to start sharing the stuff on it, and we're finalizing some last minute details. So keep an eye out for that, and always give us feedback on what you think is cool, or if you think it's dumb, or if you don't want to do it at all.
What's being fair? Like we're trying to make it so that you're gonna get value out of it. Like if you donate $1, you're gonna get a bonus episode no matter what.
You get a bonus episode if you contribute at least $1.
$1 a month, and you get all the bonus episodes that we release.
Yep.
We're trying to figure out the other pricing things, make sure they're fair, make sure
you'll think they're valuable. I'm excited about some of them. I think the guys are excited about some of them. So we'll have a Patreon episode about Juan of the Mad. We're gonna have I've got a couple episodes planned already.
We've got a couple banked as well.
Yeah.
Mostly commentary episodes right now, but we're also trying to think of other bonus things that are Tudor adjacent or not quite. Something we would talk about on a normal show.
Yep.
So, tell your friends about us.
Rate and review us.
Where will you find us?
Facebook at Tudor. I hardly know her.
Or on Twitter at Tudor Know Her.
Or email
us at tudorknowher@gmail.com.
God, we're good at this.
We're so
It's so much easier
our
when
Patreon
Garrett's
page?
actually here.
How do we find us on Patreon?
Oh, our Patreon page is something like Patreon at
Patreon.com/
Patreon.com/Tudor Know Her, I think. Let me check.
We're doing bookkeeping here in the show.
Patreon.com/Tudor.
It's so nice actually having Garrett in the room with us.
Know
It
her.
is, yeah.
I'm
much more active, and I can't.
You can actually
it's,
hear us.
I can't pretend that I'm paying attention just playing on my phone the whole time.
Our Patreon page is patreon.com/Tudor Know Her. So if you want to contribute, go ahead and do that there. Sure, we'll share the links and all that shit too.
Yeah,
so
we'll do that.
Love
If you
you
don't want
guys.
to, that's okay. We're not going to hold the normal podcast back
we're
from
just
you.
experimenting.
Yeah, it's college. We're experimenting.
It's fun.
And
Try
we're almost at
something-
100
yeah.
episodes by this point.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we're getting really close.
Oh,
What will this one be, Jeff?
This should be episode 94.
oh my god, that's so cool.
What
love
we're
this
do for
podcast.
100? Give us some ideas.
Ooh yeah,
Yeah.
we need a super episode for episode 100. Maybe some Patreon episodes should be redos.
No.
Ooh.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
If you have any ideas of what you want us to do for the 100th episode, maybe a big old blowout or another quiz show episode.
We've given them a lot of homework.
Yeah.
We
Tell us
want
about your
your
books.
feedback. This is it.
Yeah.
This is just as much your podcast now as it is ours.
Except I do the research. So
That's
Yeah.
true. Okay.
it's mostly my
So
podcast.
until next time,
Until next time.
divorced, beheaded, died.
Divorced, beheaded, survived.
Goodbye.
Bye.